Welcome to Duo Reads. Today we're diving into, well, a really fascinating and timeless classic. David J. Schwartz's The Magic of Thinking Big. And this isn't just, another motivational book. It feels like a profound exploration of how our mindset really shapes everything we do.
That's absolutely right, especially today. In an age where it often feels like limitations are just everywhere, Schwartz's message really cuts through all that noise. And think about it, this book came out way back in 1959, but it just lights up this powerful idea that fundamentally the only true barriers holding us back are the ones we create for ourselves. It's inspired millions truly by revealing just how profoundly our thinking shapes our reality.
Yeah, and our mission today is really to unpack the core ideas from this, masterpiece. We want to help you unlock your own potential and really understand how the sheer scale of your dreams can directly translate into the magnitude of your success. So we're going to try and pull out the most important nuggets, complete with some compelling anecdotes and, importantly, actionable strategies. So let's jump right in. We're taking things off with Chapter 1. It's got this bold title, Believe You Can Succeed and You Will. Now, that sounds incredibly simple, almost too simple, maybe. When Schwartz talks about success here, is he just talking about money, or is it something broader?
Oh, it's definitely broader, much broader than just money. Schwartz defines success very holistically, you could say. It includes personal prosperity, sure, but also things like the admiration of others, freedom from worries, and crucially, deep self-respect.
Self-respect, yeah.
That's the ultimate goal, he argues, the thing everyone desires, but so many feel kind of trapped in mediocrity trying to achieve it. It's not really about piling up wealth for its own sake. It's about cultivating this comprehensive sense of well-being and accomplishment.
Right. And the power of belief, he says, is absolutely central to getting there. He points out how doubters tend to stay stuck, kind of average, while strong belief can achieve what genuinely seems impossible. There's that fantastic story he tells about the young woman in the mobile home industry. She succeeded despite having, no capital, no real experience. Her pure confidence and determination were her biggest assets. It just highlights that internal power, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And what's really insightful, I think, is how he contrasts belief and disbelief. Disbelief creates this mindset that's focused only on limitations, right? And then naturally it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure.
Yeah, you see what you expect to see.
Exactly. But believing in yourself, truly believing, fosters genuine confidence, and that encourages the necessary action. It's not just blind optimism, though. It's about deliberately feeding your mind this, I guess you could call it a strategic diet of positive expectation.
A strategic diet, I like that.
Yeah, like when he says think success, it isn't just hoping for the best. It's actively pre-visualizing solutions and outcomes, almost like a mental rehearsal that primes you for action. That's the real magic. He talks about transforming vague hope into like a tangible mental tool.
So it's not about being born special or anything. It's about cultivating your belief system. He says successful individuals aren't necessarily born extraordinary. They actively cultivate these beliefs. Through self-development, sure, but also by observing others, both the successful and the unsuccessful people around them. It's an active process, something you can actually start doing today. Now let's move to Chapter 2. It has this fantastic title, Cure Yourself of Excusitis, the Failure Disease. And I think we've all probably caught a nasty case of that at some point, haven't we? What exactly is excusitis, and why does Schwartz say it's so common?
You're so right. It's incredibly common. Excusitis, the way Schwartz defines it, is basically this mental disease where people consistently make excuses for why they aren't succeeding. And the contrast he draws is really stark. Successful people, they just don't make excuses, whereas those stuck in mediocrity, they cling to them.
Why is it so prevalent then?
Well, because it's simply easier, isn't it? It's easier to blame external factors, health, age, luck, whatever, than to take personal responsibility. But that's precisely why it traps so many people.
And he breaks it down into these common forms, which I think most people will recognize.
Yeah.
He talks about health excusitis,
Right.
Blaming poor health for not achieving things. He argues successful people don't let health stop them. They find ways to work around it, or maybe because of it. Then there's intelligence excusitis. That's where people either underestimate their own intelligence or, maybe more often, overestimate everyone else's. He really stresses that how you apply your intelligence is way more important than just how much raw IQ you have. It's about recognizing your specific strengths and applying them with, a positive attitude.
Exactly. And then there's the age excusitis, the I'm too old or I'm too young excuses.
Yeah.
He pretty much dismisses both with examples of success happening at all ages. It's about adjusting your perspective.
Yeah, focusing on your productive years,
Yeah.
whenever they are.
Right. And finally, luck excusitis, blaming failures on bad luck. He emphasizes the cause and effect principle. Success comes from preparation and effort, not just random chance.
Rejecting luck as a substitute for effort.
Precisely. What he's really hammering home is that recognizing and then really addressing these excuses is absolutely crucial. It allows you to sort of reclaim control over your actions, your decisions. It helps you foster a mindset that actually supports success rather than one that's constantly looking for reasons why you can't succeed.
It's about moving from victim to empowered.
That's a great way to put it. And for someone who's maybe used these excuses for years, the very first practical step is just awareness, catching yourself in the act. And then consciously reframing it as a challenge to overcome instead of a reason to stop.
That leads perfectly into chapter 3, which is build confidence and destroy fear. This sounds like the direct antidote to the self-doubt that those excuses breed.
It absolutely is. Schwartz introduces fear as this very real psychological force, but his core idea is simple yet really profound. Action cures fear.
Action cures fear.
Yeah. Indecision, just sitting there thinking about it, actually makes fear worse. But taking specific actions, even tiny ones, actively starts to alleviate it. He gives that example of the troubled executive who basically regained his confidence step by proactively tackling his problems. It shows that motion, just doing something, is a powerful precursor to changing your emotional state.
So you can't just think your way out of fear.
Right. You have to act your way out. He says you need to isolate your fear first, figure out exactly what it is you're afraid of, and then take specific, tailored action against that specific fear.
He also talks about memory management for building confidence. What's that about?
It's a really interesting concept. It's about consciously depositing positive thoughts. So focusing deliberately on your past successes, your good experiences, remembering times you did overcome something.
Like banking positive memories.
Exactly. And at the same time, actively withdrawing negative ones, refusing to dwell on past failures or negative recollections. It's like feeding your mind the right kind of mental food to build up resilience against fear and doubt.
And what about fear of other people? That holds a lot of us back.
Yeah, he addresses that too. He calls it having the right perspective on people. Fear of others often comes from a distorted perception, seeing them as somehow more capable or intimidating than they are. He says understanding the fundamental similarities between yourself and others reduces that fear. And he connects honesty to confidence too. Maintain conscience for confidence. Basically, being truthful and ethical builds self-assurance, while guilt erodes it.
Makes sense.
And finally, he ties it all together with this powerful idea: act confidently to feel confident. He gives really specific, practical actions you can take. Deliberately sit at the front in meetings, make eye contact, walk a bit faster, speak up more often, even just smile more.
These aren't just superficial things.
No, he argues they're not. They're physical actions that, over time, can actually rewire your emotions and build genuine self-assurance. It's like creating a positive feedback loop. The physical act influences the mental state, which then makes the physical act easier next time.
Okay, let's move on to chapter 4. How to think big. This feels like the absolute core theme of the book, right?
Yeah.
How does Schwartz really define thinking big? Is it purely about ambition?
It is the core, definitely. And he defines it not just as raw ambition, but more as realizing that your ultimate success is determined by the size of your thinking, not by external stuff like your education level or your family background. It's an internal, personal measure of the potential you allow yourself to see.
He also talked about self-deprecation being a major human weakness. And it's so easy to sell yourself short, isn't it? To focus on what you lack.
It really is. He encourages consciously recognizing and articulating your strengths instead of constantly dwelling on shortcomings. It's about building a positive self-vocabulary.
Positive vocabulary, that's interesting.
Yeah, he emphasizes using rich vocabulary and positive language words that actually inspire optimism and possibility, both in yourself and others. And he highlights what he calls the vision of potential. This is about training yourself to see beyond the current reality, beyond what is, to envision what can be.
Like seeing the potential in things.
Exactly. He uses powerful examples from real estate, seeing the potential value of a rundown property or in retail, visualizing how a store could be improved. It's about seeing opportunities where others just see the status quo.
So it's not just dreaming, it's seeing possibilities.
Right. Thinking big also means constantly looking for ways to add value through your own personal development, yes, but also through making positive contributions to whatever environment you're in. And crucially, maintaining perspective. Avoiding petty thinking, small arguments, trivial concerns that bog you down. Keeping your focus on the larger goals helps you rise above that stuff.
So applying that, say, to a promotion, instead of just thinking about the basic job requirements.
You visualize the role's real impact, right? You think
Yeah.
about innovative ideas you could bring, the potential recognition not just for you, but for the team or the company.
That completely shifts your entire approach, your energy when you go for that job.
Absolutely. Your thinking dictates your actions.
Okay, chapter 5 is how to think and dream creatively. Now, a lot of people think creativity is just for artists, maybe inventors. What does Schwartz say about that?
He really pushes back against that idea. He clarifies that creative thinking isn't some exclusive gift. It's simply about finding new, better ways to do anything.
Anything.
Yeah, anything. From improving how you manage your household budget, to making your workplace more efficient, to solving complex business problems. He sees it as a practical, accessible skill for everyone, not just the creative types.
Okay, so how do we cultivate it? He lays out steps, right?
He does. The first one is foundational. Step 1, believe it can be done. He argues that simply believing a solution is possible is what triggers your mind to start finding ways to make it happen. Without that initial belief, the creative gears just don't engage.
He gives that example about discussing eliminating jails.
Right. Which sounds radical, maybe impossible. But he says the moment the group allowed themselves to believe it could be done, even theoretically, the whole dynamic shifted from skepticism to actual brainstorming. Belief unlocked the creativity.
That's powerful. What's step 2?
Step 2. Know your mind can create solutions. This is about maintaining belief, not just in the possibility of a solution existing, but in your own ability to find or contribute to it. He illustrates this with a story of a young man who wanted an education but faced huge obstacles. His unwavering belief that he could find a way was what propelled him to success.
So it's about personal confidence in your creative capacity.
Exactly. And he gives practical suggestions, too. Eliminate the word impossible from your thinking and vocabulary. When faced with a goal, consciously list reasons why you can achieve it, not why you can't. He also advises challenging traditional thinking, staying open to new ideas, and just maintaining a generally progressive, improvement-focused mindset.
And applying it daily.
Yeah, he encourages creativity in daily life through active dialogue, asking questions constantly, really listening to others, and embracing challenges by always asking, how can I improve this? Or how can I do more? He also stresses writing down ideas, capturing those fleeting thoughts, and committing to continuous improvement in everything you do.
Okay, now to chapter 6. You are what you think you are. This sounds like the ultimate self-fulfilling prophecy.
It really does, doesn't it? Schwartz explains that our internal self-perception, how we see ourselves, directly influences how other people treat us. If you secretly feel inferior, you'll likely act in ways that project that feeling, even subtly. And then others pick up on those signals and, well, they often end up validating that negative perception.
Wow, so it's a cycle.
A powerful, often subconscious cycle that genuinely shapes your external reality.
So the importance of self-respect he talks about is absolutely paramount then. You fundamentally have to believe you deserve respect to actually gain it from others. He says it's visible, it shows in your actions, your attitude, how you carry yourself.
Precisely. And he takes this idea of perception even further, connecting it directly to your outward appearance. He makes the bold claim that looking important fosters important thinking.
Looking important fosters important thinking. Interesting.
Yeah, his point is that our appearance communicates powerful messages, affecting not just how others view us, but also our own self-perception. He uses that great adage, dress right, you can't afford not to. And the analogy of children playing dress-up, how putting on a costume can actually make them feel and act like the character. Our clothes, our grooming, they're like our adult costumes, influencing our mindset.
That makes sense. And he links this to job attitude too.
Yes, with that classic story of the 3 bricklayers, you ask them what they're doing. One says, I'm laying bricks. The second says, I'm building a wall. The third says, I'm building a great cathedral.
Right. Same job. Totally different perspective.
Exactly. And Schwartz argues that perceiving your work as important, as contributing to something bigger like building that cathedral, profoundly influences your performance, your attitude, and ultimately your future opportunities. It's about finding the significance in what you do, however small it might seem.
Let's dive into chapter 7 then. Manage your environment. Go first class. How does our environment actually shape our minds?
Well, Schwartz argues that the mind is this incredibly powerful yet delicate tool, and its capacity, its output, is directly shaped by the mind food it gets from its surroundings. Just like your body is affected by the food you eat, your mind is profoundly influenced by the people you associate with, the conversations you have, the ideas you're exposed to.
So negative people lead to negative thinking.
Pretty much. Associating constantly with negative, gossipy, or small-minded individuals inevitably pulls your own thinking down. Conversely, spending time with ambitious, positive, big-thinking people inspires you to raise your own sights.
He talks about reconditioning for success, how society sometimes pushes us toward mediocrity.
Yeah, he describes how societal norms, sometimes even well-meaning advice from family or friends, can inadvertently suppress our ambitions. He actually categorizes people into 3 groups based on their attitudes toward success. The surrendered, those who've given up, the partially surrendered, those clinging to mediocrity, and the non-surrendered, those still striving.
And the goal is to stay in that last group.
Absolutely. The key is to relentlessly stay in that non-surrendered group, and you do that by actively resisting negative influences. He stresses choosing your company wisely, making conscious choices about who you spend your time with. Surround yourself with positive, uplifting people who fuel your ambition, not those who drain you with negativity or petty gossip.
So it's about being selective.
Very selective. He also advises seeking guidance specifically from successful individuals, diversifying your social interactions to get broader perspectives, and actively avoiding thought poison, meaning gossip and chronic negativity. And this idea of go first class, it's not just about material things. It's about pursuing quality over quantity in all your endeavors, your friendships, your information sources, even the entertainment you consume. Because, as he puts it, you simply can't afford to compromise on the essentials that feed your mind.
Be intentional about your mind food.
Exactly. Be incredibly intentional.
Moving to Chapter 8. Make your attitudes your allies. How do our attitudes communicate so much, often without us even saying a word?
Attitudes are just incredibly powerful communicators, aren't they? They reflect our inner thoughts and emotions non-verbally. People can often read our minds, so to speak, just through our facial expressions, our body language, our tone of voice. He quotes Professor Irwin H. Schell, who really emphasizes how crucial attitude is for success. Schell says, when our attitude is right, our abilities reach their maximum effectiveness, which naturally leads to good results.
Okay, so what attitudes does Schwartz say we need to actively cultivate?
He focuses on 3 critical ones. First, activating enthusiasm. His point is you simply must be enthusiastic yourself if you want to inspire enthusiasm in others. People respond to genuine energy.
How do you cultivate that if you're not feeling it?
Good question. He gives practical tips. Dig deeper into subjects that initially bore you, find an angle that does interest you. Consciously lift everything you do, improve your handshake, your smile, your vocal tone, and actively broadcast good news, share positivity. Enthusiasm is often contagious.
Okay, enthusiasm was the second one.
The second is fostering the you are important attitude. This is huge. It means genuinely recognizing the inherent importance of other people, acknowledging their contributions, making an effort to remember and use their names, practicing sincere appreciation.
And making others feel valued.
Precisely. Everyone has a deep-seated desire to feel important. When you fulfill that need in others, it builds incredibly strong relationships and loyalty.
And the third attitude?
The third is the service-first mentality. This is about understanding that financial success, recognition, rewards, they are almost always byproducts of providing excellent service. Focus on giving exceptional service, going the extra mile, exceeding expectations. This not only leads to greater financial success and customer loyalty, but also significantly enhances your own personal value within any team or organization. It's about seeing every interaction as a chance to provide value.
Right. Give first, then receive.
That's the essence of it.
Okay, Chapter 9 is think right toward people. We touched on the importance of others, but how crucial is their support when you're aiming high?
Oh, it's absolutely crucial. Schwartz argues that success in almost any field relies heavily on gaining the willing support of other people. You rarely achieve big things entirely on your own. He even points out that the likability factor, just being someone others genuinely like and want to work with, often outweighs purely technical qualifications when it comes to things like promotions or getting hired.
So it's not just what you know, but definitely who you know, and maybe more importantly, how you connect with who you know.
Exactly. It's about building genuine rapport. He discusses practical strategies, making the effort to remember names, being genuinely approachable and warm, showing sincere interest in other people's lives and perspectives.
He mentions President Lyndon Johnson's 10-point plan for rapport.
Yeah, as an illustration of just how consciously and effectively you can build rapport if you make it a priority. It was a masterclass in connecting with people. He also makes a really important point. Friendship cannot be bought. You can't buy genuine support or liking. These things have to be cultivated through your own initiative.
Meaning you have to take the first step.
Often, yes. Proactively introduce yourself. Start conversations. Don't just wait passively for others to approach you. Take the initiative in building connections.
In managing our own thoughts about people.
That's vital, too. He talks about maintaining a positive perception of others. He uses this analogy of tuning your mind to either channel P, positive thoughts about people, or channel N, negative thoughts.
Yeah.
He urges us to consciously choose channel P and, importantly, refuse to let other people's negative opinion or gossip prejudice our thinking about someone before we've formed our own judgment. Think well of people until proven otherwise.
All right, let's get to Chapter 10. Get the action habit. This really feels like the practical culmination of everything else, doesn't it? Putting it all into practice.
It really does. This is where the rubber meets the road. Schwartz makes a very clear distinction here between what he calls activationists and passivationists.
Activationists and passivationists.
Yeah. Activationists are the doers, decisive individuals who initiate action and drive results. Passivationists are the passive ones, the waiters, the ones who fail to act and consequently often end up stuck in mediocrity. He basically says the world is crying out for more activationists.
And inaction is the enemy.
Absolutely. He argues powerfully that even a simple plan that you actually act upon is far superior to a brilliant, complex plan that just sits on the shelf unimplemented.
We've all known people like that.
Oh, definitely. Delaying action, waiting for the mythical perfect conditions, that's a huge trap. It leads to countless missed opportunities. He shares some really poignant case studies.
Like the accountant who waited too long.
Yeah, GN, the accountant who kept delaying marriage because he was overly cautious, waiting for everything to be just right. Or CD, the man who dreamed of starting his own business for over a decade, but kept waiting for the perfect moment that never arrived. He never acted.
But he contrasts that with J.
Right. JM, the young man who got frustrated with renting, channeled that frustration into action, proactively negotiated a deal, adjusted his budget, and actually bought a home. He didn't wait. He acted.
So action is the key differentiator.
Yeah.
How do we cultivate that habit?
Well, first, remember, action cures fear. We talked about that. Taking immediate action, any action, lessens fear and builds confidence. He also suggests what he calls mechanical action approaches. Sometimes you just need to start doing something mechanically. Pick up the phone, start typing, walk into the room, even if you don't feel like it. The motion itself can get you going.
Like priming the pump.
Exactly. And fundamentally, it's about adopting a now mentality, combating procrastination by deciding to act now, not later, not tomorrow. He also encourages cultivating initiative and leadership by actively volunteering for tasks that stretch you, by stepping up and demonstrating leadership through your actions, not just your words. Be the person who starts.
Okay, Chapter 11 is how to turn defeat into victory. Defeat, setbacks, failures. They're pretty much inevitable for anyone trying to achieve something significant. So how do we handle them productively?
It's a crucial chapter. Schwartz notes there's often a common thread among people who are truly defeated by setbacks. He compares different responses. There's Mr. Skid Row, who completely collapses under failure. Then Mr. Mediocre, who retreats after a setback, plays it safe, avoids future risks. But then there's Mr. Success. This person uses defeat as a learning opportunity, analyzes what went wrong, and channels that experience into future growth.
Like the management consultant example he gives.
Precisely, someone who learned immensely from past failures and turned that hard-won experience into a valuable asset.
And he argues setbacks can actually spur progress.
Yes, he points to fields like aviation, medicine, even sales, where major advancements often came directly from analyzing and overcoming previous failures. Failure wasn't the end, it was data. He really emphasizes personal development through critique, actively seeking feedback, analyzing your mistakes objectively, and viewing failure not as a judgment on your worth, but as a vital part of the learning process.
So how do we actually do that? How do we emerge stronger?
The key, he says, is first defining defeat correctly, seeing it as a temporary state of mind, not a permanent condition. Then, to emerge successfully, you have to salvage something from every setback. Analyze the failure objectively, what really happened, start blaming external factors like bad luck, and crucially, combine persistence with experimentation. Don't just keep banging your head against the same wall, try different approaches.
Persistence with experimentation.
Yes. And sometimes, he advises, just take a step back, get some distance from the problem. Often, new insights and solutions emerge when you stop focusing so intensely on the failure itself.
Now, it's worth acknowledging here, as the source material does, that while Schwartz presents failure primarily as a stepping stone, this perspective might, for some, oversimplify the very real and complex emotions involved. Some setbacks are truly devastating, and individuals might need more than just a mindset shift. They might require significant external support structures to navigate those difficulties. It's not always a simple path from defeat to victory. That's important context for you, listener, to keep in mind.
That's a very fair and important point to add. Context matters.
Okay, now to Chapter 12. Use goals to help you grow. What's the difference in Schwartz's view between just having a dream and setting a goal?
That's a key distinction he makes. A goal, he explains, is an objective, a purpose. It's essentially a dream being acted upon. It provides clear direction, focus, and energy. He argues that nothing significant really happens, no real progress is made, until a clear goal is established. A dream might just remain a wish without that concrete objective.
And he stresses the importance of long-term goals.
Very much so. He encourages you to actively envision your future self, say, 10 years from now. What do you want your life to look like across different areas? Your work, your home life, your social contributions.
Like a personal long-range plan.
Exactly. Just like a business plans years ahead, you need that personal roadmap. He shares a case study of a young man who was drifting aimlessly until he sat down and actually defined his long-term career direction. That goal gave him focus.
What else is key for goals?
Desire. He talks about needing to surrender to desire. You have to genuinely want the goal for it to motivate you. Overcoming self-doubt is essential here too, believing you can achieve it. Then there's continuous improvement with goals. This isn't just about the big 10-year vision. It's about setting smaller, manageable objectives, maybe 30-day goals, and focusing on making small, consistent daily improvements. Those add up significantly over time.
Baby steps toward the big vision.
Precisely. And he also emphasizes flexibility, navigating detours. Life throws curveballs. You need to be able to adapt your plan, find alternative routes, rather than just abandoning your goal entirely when you face unexpected challenges.
And investing in yourself.
Crucial. He highlights constantly investing in yourself through education, reading, acquiring new skills, seeking out new ideas. This continuous growth fuels your mental capability and makes achieving bigger goals possible. Your mind is your greatest asset. Keep sharpening it.
Finally, Chapter 13. How to think like a leader. How do we get lifted to success, as he puts it? This isn't just about individual effort anymore.
Right. His point here is that leaders don't just climb to success on their own. They are often lifted there by the people around them, their team, their supporters, their network, and that requires developing genuine leadership abilities. He outlines 4 key principles for thinking like a leader. The first is trade minds with others.
Trade minds. What does that mean?
It means developing the ability to genuinely see things from the other person's perspective, to understand their situation, their feelings, their motivations. You can't effectively influence or lead people if you don't understand where they're coming from. He gives examples of people who failed because they didn't do this, like the advertising copywriter who only thought from his own angle, or the retail buyer who couldn't see things from the customer's viewpoint.
Okay. Understand others. What's the second principle?
Second, think. What is the human way to handle this? Leaders, effective ones anyway, adopt a human-centered approach. They treat people with respect and consideration, not like cogs in a machine. They avoid being dictatorial. This approach cultivates loyalty and willingness. He uses the example of John S., a manager who, instead of just firing an underperforming employee, actively helped him find a new job better suited to his skills. That's the human way.
That builds incredible goodwill. Third principle.
Third, think progress. Believe in progress. Push for progress. True leaders are never satisfied with the status quo. They are committed to continuous improvement, setting high standards for themselves and others, and constantly looking for better ways to do things. He gives an example of a proactive sales manager candidate who didn't just talk about maintaining current levels, but presented concrete ideas for growth and improvement. That's progressive thinking.
And the fourth principle.
Fourth, take time to confer with yourself. Managed solitude. This is so important but often overlooked. Leaders need dedicated time for deep, uninterrupted, reflective thinking. Getting away from distractions allows for sounder decision-making, creative problem-solving, and enhanced self-awareness. He suggests scheduling this thinking time like any other important appointment. Use it for strategic planning, evaluating progress, or just quiet contemplation.
So it's about introspection and strategic thought.
Exactly. To maintain that leadership mindset, he concludes, you have to continually think big in all these areas, always focusing on progressive actions and positive influence.
Wow. So after unpacking all these incredible insights from the magic of thinking big, what really stands out to you? We've covered so much. From belief in excusitis to action, handling defeat, setting goals, leadership. It's a lot to absorb, but so much seems to circle back to mindset.
It really does. The core message remains just strikingly powerful, even all these decades later. Our mindset truly fundamentally shapes our reality. But if we were to take just one idea away, maybe consider this. How might partially choosing to go first class, like he says, not just in, material things, but applying that idea to every interaction you have, every thought you allow yourself to entertain, every environment you choose to cultivate? How might that commitment to first-class thinking and acting profoundly transform your daily experience and maybe your whole long-term trajectory? So maybe the question for you listening is, what's one small first-class choice you can make today, right now, to start thinking just that little bit bigger?